So, hello and welcome to the Human Story Behind the Business and Brand podcast. I'm the host, Jeanette Walton. I'm a career brand consultant and a Humans Matter champion, committed to helping others deep dive into their many human facets that make them unique, fabulous beings. I'm also a strong advocate of storytelling to enrich our human connections. This podcast partnership with Women Making It Work aligns with but slightly deviates from the Human Behind the Career Brand podcast series. The human story behind the business and brand delves into those poignant moments, experiences, and life lessons that shape these high-performing professional women into who they are today. It discusses their fates, their flaws, their feats, their fears, and all the other fabulous human elements that have driven them to perform so well in their professional lives, as is encapsulated in the Women Making It Work's Beyond the Business celebratory anthology. So my next guest for this podcast series is Naarah Harrison, one of the authors and storytellers in Women Making It Work's Beyond the Business anthology, representing those women who have faced devastating health diagnoses and other profound losses, and who chose to transform their pain into purpose, creating legacies that help others navigate life's hardest moments. Naarah is the co-owner of Home Inspections for a Better Peace of Mind, which she co-founded 13. Naarah has undergone several significant life transformations since leaving high school at 16 to work in a factory, followed soon after by starting a family at 20. She returned to high school at 28 after feeling an innate calling to make something better of herself in her life, and she hasn't looked back since, after acing her VCE marks. Naarah's career pathway since then has included the corporate world, youth support, including as a volunteer, and tertiary education. So welcome, Naarah. It's such a pleasure to have you here on the podcast.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Yeah. Nice little snapshot of what you've done and where you've been. So you've risen from the ashes of life's challenges to excel both personally and professionally. When you first felt that urge to go back to high school as a working mother of two young children, that must have been very daunting. What was your main hope or ambition?
It was 3 young kids. My youngest
Three?
one wasn't even, he wasn't even 2.
Wow.
And I
Even
remember
more daunting.
I know. I remember computers were just coming in and I had to get one, and that was a challenge. And I remember him coming up and going, poke, and he turned it off just as I was finishing my English assignment, and nothing was saved. Going back to school at 28 was it was a no-brainer, because it was an urge in me that said, I've been at home. I'd been working little part-time jobs, but I'd been a stay-at-home mum for so many years, and I knew the world was changing and I needed to be a role model to my kids. So something in me just went, okay, I'm going back to high school, because that actually suited my daycare arrangements better than going to TAFE. But it was also a challenge because I was going in with 16, 17-year-olds and I was 28.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. It opened so many doors. Teachers actually said to me, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, but I need to be here. I had one
Amazing.
teacher tell me to go home and be with my children. What are you
Wow.
doing? Yeah. So that was another challenge. And he was actually very gobsmacked when I turned out to end up in the 5 percentile of IT with IT that year. And I got high distinctions throughout it all.
You must have made him uncomfortable to some degree being there, yeah?
I think so, but that's okay.
Yeah.
He didn't quite know how to deal with having an adult in the
Yes.
classroom.
Yeah. They would have had to change their teaching style to some degree.
They did, but my English teacher actually loved it, because I remember being late for class once, and I got in there because they were doing a debate. And I got in there and he's like, come on, these kids won't talk. So I sort of threw the cat amongst pigeons and we got the debates happening. So it was good.
Yeah.
It was good fun. But that actually led to me being able to step into the corporate world,
Okay.
because at the end of my VCE, even though I got another factory job because I needed work, then it just came into my pathway, a job at Telstra, of all places. And I thought, I'll apply for it. Don't think I'll have a chance of it. And then I got it, because at the time they needed people that had good computer skills, and I had good computer skills.
Yeah.
I trained in that. So that was the start of my career, my corporate career, and that sort of went over for a few years. But the urge to go back to school was to better myself, so my kids had a role model. So my children actually could see that you've got to reach. You just got to keep reaching in life.
Yep.
So,
And I
and
imagine
what a better way to do it.
returning to school 10 years older on average than the other students. It must have emboldened you in terms of taking risks, like, for instance, then applying for a role at Telstra.
Yeah, I was terrified. That first day when I was walking up those steps, I was terrified. But, the book Feel the Fear, but doing it anyway. Has anybody died from this? No.
Yes,
So
yes.
I pushed forward.
I've got Educating Rita in my mind, to be honest. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
Yeah. It was good though. It was because I had been predominantly a stay-at-home mum. You kind of got sick of bananas in pajamas, and I needed something to challenge my mind as
Yeah, good
well.
on you. Amazing.
So there was a whole
Amazing.
range of things that I did. It was maths. I hadn't done maths since year 8, and
Yeah.
I stepped into VCE math, and it was just like, what is this?
Ha
So
ha. Yeah,
yeah, that was
wow.
interesting.
Discovered things about yourself, like skills and knowledge that you didn't think you had, yeah?
Tenacity and perseverance as well, because there was times I really could have just thrown it all away and walked away. Because I did it over 2 years, the 2 units each year, and there was times I really wanted to walk away, but I actually don't do that
And you knew at
in
the end
life.
there'd be a reward for pushing through.
Yeah, and when I stepped into the world of youth work and career development and working in the schools as well, and employability skills for young people, I didn't fully understand why I had to go back to school and do that, but it was just amazing how those life lessons and experiences, lived experiences, allowed me to come in closer and work at a deeper level with the young people that I was, because I was working with at-risk kids. I was working with no one wanted to deal with these kids. I did.
Yep.
I understood it. I got it, and I connected with it. It really held me in good stead and sort of pulled a lot of it together as well. So
Nice. Yeah, that
I
lived
didn't.
experience, yeah? So powerful. So
It is
powerful.
powerful. You can't In my world, you can't beat an authentic experience to be able to connect with somebody.
I totally agree.
So we can help each other and support each other more that way.
Yep. Yep. Strengthens connections. We go deeper, yeah? Yeah. You recognise in your story the impact of your working class upbringing, where there was no encouragement to dream big, quite the opposite. And I can totally relate to that, by the way. How do you think you overcame those tribal cycles of not aspiring for much in life to be able to continue to develop yourself?
I didn't get encouragement from the school or from the family level. As I got older, my true inspiration came from my dad, of all people. My dad, he was he was an interstate truck driver, so he was always
It's
working
hard.
and worked hard for his family. And I think that's where it started from. It's just like, well, I don't want to just be, let's say I didn't want to be a kept woman. And I'm not like that anyway. My mind works in analytic ways. So he was a bit of my inspiration. And how did I break it? I just looked and thought, I want not only better for me, but I want to show my children that there is better and more out there as well.
Yeah.
So kind of starting to break down that generational element of we can be anything that we want to be. We can reach high. We can, if we want to put ourselves out there, we can achieve anything.
Yep. Yep. How fabulous. And has that had a positive impact on your children?
It actually has. Yeah. Yeah. All three of them. Yes. They've all reaching for what they want in life. They're now in their 30s. So they've established their family. They all have great jobs. They understand the value of education,
Yeah,
knowledge. Knowledge knowledge is power,
sure
and you
is.
get that through educating yourself. And it doesn't matter what way you do it, whether you do online courses or you go and you have lived experiences or you have a combination of both. But as long as you are learning, and reaching and looking for new ways to do things or thinking outside the square. I think that's a big one, is thinking outside the square as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
To
absolutely. And yeah,
to be what you
keep
want to be.
challenging yourself, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you really led by example for your children, which is wonderful.
I did, and as I said, when I was in the youth sector, I ran the same mantra: if I can do it, you can do it. And this is how I did it. How are you going to do it? So, and initially I wasn't going to tell my story. I was actually going to tell a story about it was three. There was three students I've been mentoring, and I still, to this day, they still keep in touch. But I mentored them for well over 10 years. They were very much at-risk kids. They nearly ended up in jail, but not. But they've gone, and I encouraged them through to get their education. One's now an A-grade electrician. The other one's a qualified butcher and runs a warehouse and also does a whole heap of community work. So I always, with young people, I was always like, well, I did this, this, and this, and I didn't die. I got better, so you can do it too.
Through education. Yeah.
Percent.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. If you're happy to go a bit deeper in this discussion, what would you say was your hardest moment in feeling like a wallflower at high school as teenage Nara?
As a teenager, oh, my hardest moment, a lot of the middle years, like 9, 8, 9, 10, it was really
Tricky age.
difficult. Very tricky age. I didn't quite know how to fit in. I went across a few different groups that were there, but I didn't quite fit in anywhere. And so I suppose I lacked confidence to stand in one crowd. And I spread myself across a couple of crowds. It was one thing I regret not doing is listening to my music teacher.
Why is that?
Well, my music teacher in year 7 and 8 turned around and said to me, because I've done a little bit of local theatre as well, and a bit of singing, and had I taken on board what they were saying to me in year 7 and 8, my life might have been a bit different.
With respect to musical talent.
Musical talents, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't come out until later in life, until the confidence lifted. But
Yes.
yeah, so I just, being invisible at school, it's difficult. But at the same time, I look back and I was like, okay, yes, I was a bit of across a few groups, not the popular one, but you don't have to be the popular one.
I think it's unhealthy to be the popular one. I think I was probably more middle of the road.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Yeah.
and, yeah, I mean, my sisters were very quite well known through the school, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was quiet.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yep. Okay. You're your own person.
absolutely. But I didn't quite say it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I think so many of us reflect back on secondary school and think of how it'd be great to go back now with all our confidence and self awareness.
Their
And
knowledge. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Which is what I did at 28.
yeah,
Yeah. That
yeah.
was
You got to do what I've always thought would be a great thing to
yes.
do. So, if you were to look back over your life journeys that overcame adversity, what do you think has become your core personal philosophy and/or professional superpower?
My profession, I would say my professional superpower is listening to my clients,
It's across all
understanding where
different
they're at,
types of roles. Yes.
all different types of roles, listening to my employees over the years and understanding from their perspective as well. Walk a mile in their shoes. I've been that person in those roles, or I've been that person buying a home, or so understanding where they're at and really listening to what they have to say, but providing solution that we can offer professionally, that and also follow up. Communication is key. That's probably one of my superpowers is communication. So yeah, and
Is a true strength. And listening, yeah? It's so
active
important.
listening and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so that's one of them. What was the other part of the question?
So
There was something,
it was core personal philosophy,
some philosophy.
something you live by.
Knowledge is power, and treat others how you want to be treated. They're two very simple things. If you don't know something, go and learn something about it. Ask questions. I probably ask too many questions at times.
I'm a bit guilty of that myself. Probing.
Yeah, yeah. Or the internet, as good as it is, can sometimes like hook me in. It's just like, and I'll go on to little tangents of, let's have a look at that. What does that mean? So to me, also language is important, and clear, concise language when you're speaking with people, and easy to understand,
Yep. Yep.
because there is so much jargon out there these days.
Was just going to say, I think now with the AI generated content, AI slop, it's going to be known as apparently, and everything's digital. And
Okay,
yeah, so that connection, that communication, human to human, is so valuable, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Let's hope we don't lose it, because people, I still maintain in a working environment, a professional environment, people still hire people
Yes.
in service-based industries.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
yeah, because
Yep.
you really need to know who's working for you or with you. Or I know I like that
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I
yeah.
hire trades and whatnot. People hire people.
Yeah, I know there's a statistic at least 80% of consumers want to feel trust in a
Yes,
brand before investing in it.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
and it's the
absolutely.
human connection that builds the trust, isn't it? Yeah.
It is absolutely.
So you've continued to excel as a professional since you returned to high school at 28, including as a Telstra team leader, youth support worker, an educator, and the co-owner of Home Inspections for a Better Peace of Mind. What would you say has been your most rewarding career experience to date and why?
Well, I've had quite a many of them. With home inspections, that was I'd always wanted so home inspections actually was my husband, and it was all started in 2005. I jumped in 13 years ago
Ah, okay.
and said to him, "You've got me for 2 years. I'll set up processes and then I'm gone." That was 13 years ago. So,
You
yeah,
work well together, obviously.
we do. But prior to that, I'd worked for organizations but I'd always wanted to know what it was like to run and operate a business. Think back now reflectively, people have I had no idea how many working parts there were in the background.
Well, you don't until you do
Absolutely
it, do
none
you?
whatsoever.
You don't.
No,
No.
no, no. And so you've got to be across pretty much all elements of how that business operates, what it needs. Through my time working in home inspections, we actually year on year put ourselves forward for customer satisfaction ratings. So,
Yep.
yeah. And we've been doing that for 10 years. So in 2021 and again this year in 2025, we were the national winners for our
Wow,
building.
that's amazing.
Yeah, our building supplies and profession category. So yeah, but in 2021, we came across the line with 100%, which is pretty much hasn't been done by any business, 100% grade of service,
Can't go any
and
better
customer
than that, can
satisfaction.
you?
Well, no, but that's all my training in communication and listening and applying all of these elements to that. So I would say one of my greatest achievements is working in our business, working in and on and around our business. That's the greatest achievement because I actually never thought I'd do it.
Yeah, and integrating what you've learnt from all your other roles.
Look, nothing is ever wasted, and this is
Yeah,
where some people sort of say, "Oh, why is this happening to me?" Well, another philosophy I run to, it's not why is it happening to me? Why is this happening for me? What can I
yeah,
use from this?
yep.
Because at some point throughout your life, you do actually take everything that you've learned, even down to when you were a little kid. That sort of draws along, and we use it. We use it. We watch mum when we're little kids. We watch mum and the way mum mums us. And we use that when we become a parent. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. You use that when you become a parent.
It's what you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Nothing is a wasted experience.
Yep, yep.
It happens to us and for us.
That's a really great perspective to have. I
Yeah.
need to keep that one in mind sometimes.
Yeah. Write it on the fridge. It's just like because we don't when we're in emotional turmoil with
Yes.
turbulence happening, it's like you can't see the forest for the trees. And funnily enough, I actually drew a picture many, many years ago, and I named it Forest for the Trees. It's very rudimentary, but it still hangs on my wall. And that's a reminder because we don't see it when we're in it. But when we step back, that's, after we've had the experience, we can then sort of go, okay, well,
If I gained from that.
what have I gained from this?
Yeah,
Where can I take this?
yeah,
Good, bad, or indifferent. If it's bad, what can I improve in myself? If it's good, where can I jettison it? Can I take this to another height?
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's things like that.
Yeah, love it, love it. That's a great perspective, and yeah, as I say, I need to tap into that a bit more. I've had some turmoil recently where I should have tapped into that a bit more. It's a really great perspective.
Yeah.
If I've just got a couple more questions to wrap up this conversation. So I've been asking everyone these questions. If you were on your deathbed, far in the future, what would you recall as your most poignant and rewarding life lesson that continues to influence you today?
Wow, that's a big one. Ooh, there's a few of them.
Yeah, I was thinking you've had so many, really, haven't you? But what one? What one stands out?
What one jumps out? Okay. Most poignant life lesson. I'm going to make reference to when my dad passed because in that there was a huge, huge lesson and nobody talks about it. For me, my dad was he was my North Star, my rock.
It's lovely.
We lost him quite quickly, very suddenly. He always knew. I always said to him, I love you. And that connection was there. Nobody can prepare you for this, but the rebuild, that particular rebuild, when we go from being somebody's child to having to find ourselves as an adult.
Yes.
And it is that
The buck
simple.
stops with us once they're gone, yeah?
Well, it's that. We still see our inner selves as children when our parents are alive. It doesn't matter whether you're 60, 65 and your mum's 89. It
Yep,
doesn't matter.
yep.
You are still somebody's child. And when your parent passes, that we then have to we do all go through a rebuild of, and I know with me, it was like, first of all, it was first of all, and nobody knows where we go. Nobody does know where we go.
Yeah.
I was wondering where my daddy had gone. That's a big one.
Understandably, yeah.
Yep. But then, so I started to go past into the next stage of grief. It was just like, who am I? Who am I? And I
What's this
was
all
somebody's
about?
child, but who is Naarah? Who is the woman Naarah? The strength, where do I sit in all of this? And I used to have these conversations with my kids as well. It's like, you don't get it until you actually have to go through this part.
Yes, yes.
So I suppose that's been my biggest. If I was laying on my deathbed, I would actually be grateful that I had some time. As much as my dad passing didn't want it to happen, it happened, but that I had time to actually find out who I am. And that's still happening.
Yes.
It's been a 10-year process so far. So that's probably one thing. And I'd look back on how I've impacted, because I've impacted a lot of young people's lives. And I know that over the years, it goes into the thousands. So, and I'm, if they can take a little bit of what I've said through this lifetime and it helps them in their journey, fantastic. But I'm really happy with the sorts of things that I've actually done in connecting with people. That
had
would
an
be my
impact on other
reflection.
people. Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
We can't take anything with us. It doesn't matter whether we sit in a mansion or a cottage. It's what we leave with leave behind with other people. It's about our experiences.
Yeah. Yep.
And how we look at them.
Yeah. Yeah, love that. That's beautiful. So one last question. Is there any final message that you'd like to pass on to anyone who listens to this podcast in terms of transforming through adversity?
You got this. Journal. Keep writing. Your goals are going to change. Your goals can change weekly, monthly. They're going to change.
Yes.
But as you change, rewrite your goals, because it keeps coming up in my head. The conversation I had yesterday with my husband, it was just like, we were mucking around, okay, so things get hard. It hasn't happened to me. It's happened for me. Why? And we both just looked at each other and took a line out of a movie that says, but did you die? No, you survive it. You absolutely survive. It's whether you can embrace those changes and keep that mindset of it's happening to me for a reason.
Yes.
What is that reason? Is it happening for me? What's the next step?
You've just inspired me to reflect on what I went through recently. So thank you for those wise words.
Okay.
And I think I need to get into some journaling as well.
100%. And my last closing statement, I'm going to say it about the business.
Yes.
Because I had 3 clients yesterday that their houses had that they were looking to buy, major structural defect. Now, one of them was a first-time buyer. She's going to run away from that house. To me, that's a bit of joy for me, because it means that those young kids, and I do call them young kids because they're about the same age as my kids, they're not going to be stuck in things that they can't handle. So I still look at what we do in the business as being, it really is helping people.
Positive impact.
Having a positive impact. It's...
And they're making big financial investments now too, those young people. Yeah.
They are. And it's, making sure that they don't overstretch themselves.
Yeah.
And because I've seen a lot of that happen over the years.
Bet you have over the years. You've been in the industry. Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of, things there, takeaways there, but no.
Some very wise advice there, Naarah. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for being so open about your own personal experiences and journeys. Yeah, you've been really insightful. And as I say, I think I'm going to go away and do some journaling tonight. So thank you.
It is amazing. No, you're welcome. And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.